Shalom. I'm going to be addressing a very serious topic. Satan has deceived the whole world into thinking that the seed of Israel no longer exists and that the church has replaced the Israelites. There was a comment that I received today, and the question is, why don't you guys believe the Jews to be the chosen people of old and that now those that are born again are the chosen people? The commenter goes on to say, I'm not hating, just genuinely curious. If you're going to say the modern Bible is corrupted, can you please tell me why you think that? I simply replied by saying, we don't believe it because it's not biblical. It's really sad that anytime you mention black people being the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, that people hate it so much they're willing to sacrifice their own salvation by twisting the truth to fit their narratives. Let's dissect this comment. That way we'll have a sound biblical understanding of the answer. I'm not going to explain in great depth as far as the word Jew, but that word is not biblical. Since the letter J did not exist back in ancient times, I have a hunch that modern-day Bible scholars who changed the Bible actually changed the word Israelites into Jews, in which the word Jew derives from one tribe and one tribe only, and that's the tribe of Judah, in which in ancient times was called the tribe of Yehudah. So that very word Jew originates from the ancient Israelites tribe of Judah. Well, we know that there was 12 tribes of Israel. So when you say Jew or Jewish, who exactly are you referring to? So I have to make mention that the first issue we have here is that you're addressing the Israelites incorrectly. In order to understand the biblical storyline, you must know who the characters are, and you must address them properly. If not, you're going to be very confused, and Yahuwah is not the author of confusion. I'm going to backtrack a little bit in your comment. You asked the question, why don't you guys believe? We believe exactly what's in the Bible. And the reason that I pulled your comment out of all the comments is because this is a great topic to discuss in a video. While most of the world believe this replacement theology, it is not biblical. Replacement theology essentially teaches that the church has replaced Israel and Yahuwah's plan to restore them as a people. Replacement theology teaches exactly what this commenter asked. Why don't you guys believe the Jews to be the chosen people of old, and that now those that are born again are the chosen people? You see, people are delusional because this absolutely makes no sense. How is it that the Most High says that he does not change, and he has a seed line that he chose from the beginning to the end of the Bible? And now the people who are waking up to the truth have to explain why we believe what the Bible says. They want us to continue to believe that now it has nothing to do with a DNA, bloodline, seed, but everyone is now considered to be Israelites by spirit. Well, let's take a look at what born again mean, because this also falls under replacement theology, because the commenter said that the Jews are chosen people of old and that now those that are born again are the chosen people. Okay, let's take a look at this mess. I have been far removed from Christianity for a long time now, so this is a very basic definition of what born again means. A born again Christian is someone who has repented of their sins and turned to Christ for their salvation, and as a result has become part of God's family forever. All this takes place as God's Spirit works in our lives. Now remember, Satan mixes truth with lies, so they also do the baptism, which is biblical. And there's a couple of other things that I do realize that they have mixed in here that is true, because the devil can't fool you unless he mixes truth with lies. Now, what is true is that repentance is the complete turn from sin. But you have to know what sin is, in which the Christian church will not teach. Let's take a look at that. This is in 1 YAH'S chapter 3 and verse 4, and it reads, "Whosoever commits sin transgress also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law." So YAH'S shows us here the most very basic definition of sin. If you watched my video yesterday, which happened to be about what happens after death, then you'll understand that there are two places that you can go. One place is for those who kept Yahuwah's laws, and that's the righteous people. And the other place is to torment those who didn't keep the law of the Most High. Now, just to prove this, we read from YAH'S chapter 7. The people who sinned against Yah and didn't keep his laws will be tormented. This can be found in verses 79 and 80, where it says, "If the spirit belonged to one of those who showed contempt and didn't keep the Most High's way, if it was one of those who despised the law and who hates those who fear Elohim, these spirits don't go into their dwelling places, but will immediately wander about in torments. They will constantly grieve and be sorrowful for 7 reasons." Okay, so these people claim to be born again Christians, but all they're doing is going through the symbolic ritual of being baptized, in which means you should become a new man. But you Christians aren't truly a new man because you're not adhering to the law, statutes, and commandments, which is the true definition of what sin is. And like I said, the devil mixes truth with lies, because Gentiles can definitely become part of the Hebrew family, but they have to be adhering to the law, statutes, and commandments in order to be considered part of the family. Now, this will not change your DNA, because when the Bible refers to the Israelites, it's talking about a seed line. So you'll never become a Hebrew Israelite by blood. People tend to say that they're not hating, they're not upset, they're just curious, and they want to know why we no longer believe the lies that they've been taught. But the truth of the matter is, the whole world have been taught that the Caucasian people are the characters in the Bible, and they do not want that to change. And as Deuteronomy chapter 30 says, that the so-called black people are going to wake up in the last days, and we're going to begin to understand who we are as a people, our true identity, as we return to our Elohim and keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. That's so different from what the world has been taught. And even though people can go in the Bible and read it for themselves, the people who are waking up, we're going to have to almost stand before a grand jury and explain why we believe something completely different from what Satan has taught this world. Now, when I made my channel, I knew that my channel would be very unique, because what sets it apart is that people are not used to seeing black images as we tell the biblical stories. You see, and it's true, pictures are worth 1,000 words, because if you change a person's name from, let's say, like YAH'S to John, and you give him blonde hair and blue eyes, well, this completely changed who you're actually reading about in the Bible, in which throughout the Bible, the scriptures heavily support that the Israelites were of Negro descent. You see, the more you read the Bible, the more you understand that it is a black history book. And many people read it and own a copy, but very few understand it. People carry it around and read it their whole entire lives and don't understand or comprehend that this book is talking about black people. Even black people have a hard time digesting these facts. And that's because when our ancient ancestors arrived to the Americas as slaves, the Bible was the first thing that was presented to them. But instead of it being presented to them as it was written, it was given to them as their slave masters said it was written. The slave masters pushed the narrative that the transatlantic slave trade was for their spiritual and social betterment, and that Black people, especially those who were Christianized, were encouraged to yield to the power of the overall system of slavery, and that suffering was part of the refining process that made a person a better Christian. And since slaves couldn't speak good English and weren't allowed to read the Bible for themselves, our ancestors had no way of knowing if what the slave masters were teaching them was true or not, and had to live by the words of their oppressors as biblical truth. This resulted in the slave masters indoctrinating them with lies about who they were in the Bible and persuading them to think that black skin is a curse and that Elohim, or God, was a Caucasian. A lot of people don't know this, but there was laws against slaves reading the Bible, and as time passed, these laws were abolished, and our ancestors finally began to learn how to read the Bible in the English language. However, the damage was already done. After decades of being taught the Bible from a white man's perspective, their minds were convinced that the Bible was a white man's book and that they could only read it from that perspective. But contrary to the biblical perspective that was passed down to us from our ancestors, as well as the one that we are currently taught by the mainstream society, the Bible is not a white man's book. The Bible is a black history book. It was written by black people, and it is about black people. The evidence of this is seen by the numerous descriptions of African countries and places that the characters of the Bible lived in. For instance, the first nation to be mentioned in the Bible is Ethiopia in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 13. And it reads, "And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compassed the whole land of Ethiopia." Well, we know that in ancient times the Ethiopians were black, and that they are still black today. And then if you take a look at Amos chapter 9 and verse 7, it says, "Are ye not as children of Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel? Said Yahuwah. Have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Kir?" We see replacement theology was invented to replace the chosen people of the Bible, in which are Negroes. They changed them from black people to white people. For years, the dominant portrayal of Adam and Eve has always been of white people. From paintings to movies, Adam and Eve have always been presented to us as pale-skinned Europeans. You see, Satan has all bases covered in order to make sure that we never find out who we are as a people. And replacement theology will have you believe that the Most High cast his people away and replaced them with the church. But you see, Satan also banks on the fact that no one reads the Bible. Everyone goes to church and listens to their pastor, but no one really reads or have a good understanding. In fact, it's deeper than the pastors. The Most High has locked the scriptures. The scriptures are for a certain people. It's a history book for black people. Therefore, everyone's not meant to understand it. And the Most High has denied access to those of you who can't accept his people or his laws, statutes, and commandments. Therefore, when your soul expires and your spirit recedes from your bodies, because you did not accept his people, you did not accept his laws, statutes, and commandments, and have chose not to accept the truth of his word, you will be amongst the tormented, the ones who are going to a dwelling place of eternal death. Don't think that you're going to get away scot-free, thinking in your mind that what your religion have taught you is right. like you're going to be separated from Yah and there's going to be darkness and eternal sleep. It's not going to be anything like that. Immediately after death, when your spirit recedes from your body, you're going to have to stand before the Most High. And those who showed contempt and didn't keep the Most High's way, those who despised His law and hated those who feared Elohim, these spirits don't go into their dwelling places, but will immediately wander about in torment. They will constantly grieve and be sorrowful. You're going to melt away in your confusion and be consumed by disgrace. Let me leave you with 2 verses so that you will know for a surety that the seed, the DNA, the bloodline of Israel still exists. This is in Jeremiah chapter 31, verses 35 through 36. And it reads, "Thus said Yahuwah, which give the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divide the sea when the waves thereof roar. Yahuwah of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, said Yahuwah, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever." So the Most High said, when you don't see the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the sea when the waves roar, then that's when the seed of Israel have ceased from being a nation before him. But as long as you see the sun, the stars, and the moon, and the sea roaring, then you know that the Most High's seed line, the seed of Israel, is still here. A lot of people like to say, well, we're all mixed up and the Most High is going to have to cleanse us. Well, he will have to cleanse us, but he's telling you that the seed of Israel is still here. Now, there's so much more that I can bring out today in regards to replacement theology, in regards to the church replacing the seed of Israel. But I'd rather those of you who want to learn about this read for yourself. And those of you who claim you're not hating, but well, you're just curious, I suggest you take up your concerns with the Most High. Because as a courtesy, I'm doing this because my people need to hear it. Otherwise, you own a Bible just like I do. And I'm not obligated to explain to you why the Most High chose the Negroes to be his chosen people. Besides the fact that that is not the only focus, there's so much more to this truth that we are waking up to. One more thing. I'm going to say this again. This channel is for the chosen people, the remnant who want to learn the truth. So anybody who think I owe them an explanation for what I'm reading from the Bible, for anybody who continue to say this is a free country and you should be able to exercise your freedom of speech on my channel, I don't care what this country is. My channel is not free for you to say whatever you want. So if you think you can say whatever you want on my channel, and you actually believe those demonic thoughts being planted in your mind, then you must be advised that I will delete your comments and block you. As I've said before in the past, I have a very low tolerance for you coming on my channel lying because you've had all this time to lie. And now that we're waking up to what's true, you want to insert yourself with more lies. Be advised you're wasting your time. Your comments will be deleted. I do leave a few negative comments up or a few lies up because I want us to be able to visualize and rightly divide truth from lies and good from evil and light from darkness. Be advised, writing novels, writing stories, sending me hundreds of Bible verses from Paul's epistles, that is not going to make me think any different about this truth that I've learned. You will be wasting your time and your comments will be deleted or they will be used as an example, either in a video or in the comment section. One last thing that I didn't address from the commenter. I absolutely cannot address the part where you said, if you're gonna say the modern Bible is corrupted, can you please tell me why you think that? Well, I don't believe that the Bible is corrupted. I do believe that it's been tampered with. However, I'm not sure what you mean by the modern day Bible because I honestly don't know what a modern day Bible is. The Bible is ancient, both what they call the Old and the New Testament. The only thing that I can think of that maybe you're referring to is the New Testament, in which I never mentioned the Old or the New Testament being corrupted. So maybe you can add on to your initial comment and let me know what you're talking about, because I have no idea. And the Bible, before it was separated, is just really one continuous storyline or text. I mean, there's really nothing new or modern about it other than the Israelites who are still here walking out the last part of the Bible, in which is the last captivity. This concludes my video. Thank you all for listening. I hope it was edifying to your spirits, and I hope that this message answered some of you guys' questions. That is, those of you who are genuinely seeking truth. May the Most High bless you and keep you all safe in this dark hour. And until my next video, Shalom.